Tens of thousands of people marched in cities across Australia today to show their pride in Australia and to call for a stop to mass immigration.
Yeah, Australians turned out in force despite the fear-mongering from politicians and the media.
Australia is a nation of foreigners, just like that wonderful song says. From all the lands on earth we come. And Australia isn't a place where we walk with Nazis. Australia is a place that went to war with Nazis.
We absolutely condemn the March for Australia rally that's going on today. It is not about increasing social harmony. We think, and I think the vast majority of the Australians think that multiculturalism has been a good thing for our country.
First of all, I have to start by highlighting that Canada, as we once knew it, our beautiful, pristine country, is being turned into a dumping ground for third world chaos right before our eyes. And who's to blame? Well, let's just say that the policies coming out of Ottawa are undeniably fueling this crisis. Massive immigration without proper integration is bringing in problems we never used to have. Panhandling scammers, begging on street corners, public defecation turning our parks into toilets, and outright desecration of the spaces we all love and pay taxes to maintain. I mean, come on, pooping on the beach, diapers floating in our pristine lakes, bags upon bags of garbage piled up like some kind of post-apocalypse nightmare. There's also the proxy protests clogging our streets where crowds are chanting about genocide halfway around the world, disrupting our daily lives and making our cities feel increasingly unsafe. And as we've tirelessly reported, the increasingly crushing strain all of this is putting on housing and healthcare, coupled with a spiraling homelessness crisis, it only serves to further highlight the urgent need for decisive action to restore Canada's integrity. So let me officially welcome you to your new Canada. The demographics have changed drastically. This is no longer the Canada that I grew up in, and it's not the Canada that I want to leave to my and our children. That's why we're launching yournewcanada.com. It's a dedicated platform exposing what happens when third world habits are imported without demanding respect for our rules and values. Because no longer is this happening in the big cities, it's also creeping into our small towns, our family-friendly spots where kids should be playing without a care about stepping in garbage or digging up human feces.
From what I observed, or everything that I've seen today, there wasn't a lot of neo-Nazis at these protests. The majority of people at these protests were everyday Aussies who have quite frankly had a gutful of this country being overrun by absolute madness, out of control, runaway immigration policy. I mean, we've had more than 1.1 million immigrants come into this country since Labor was elected. And let's be realistic, but we can't sugarcoat this, James. There have been people who've brought into this country, some who hate us, some who hate our values, some who have absolutely no interest in assimilating in this country. So I say good on those people for getting out there and taking a stand. In fact, I think this marks a pivotal moment. I was actually heartened to see all of those Australian flags. People had them draped over them. They were waving them proudly. Thank goodness, finally, we're seeing some Australian pride.
Well, where was Murray, calling out the pro-Palestinian rallies as hateful and divisive?
Well,
but if an Aussie flag gets waved, all of a sudden it's an extremist behaviour.
And this is the point I want to make, because let's be honest, it is not hateful to wave the Australian flag.
Of course not.
It is not hateful to love your country. It is not hateful to be proud of your country. Yet you've got the left who peddle this ridiculous narrative that it's racist to wave the Australian flag. Honestly, it's like they tie themselves in knots of guilt constantly. The absolute self-loathing is out of control. And secondly, it's also not hateful to bring up the fact that people are worried about the state of this country when you've got flags of terror groups being waved so brazenly down the Harbour Bridge, or we saw what happened at the Sydney Opera House days after the Hamas attacks. And I find it appalling that the media are just riding today with this neo-Nazi line, marred by neo-Nazis.
This weekend's Britannia protest was only the most recent in a string of anti-migrant protests that have erupted in the UK over recent months.
Do you really want the rest of the country to look like London? Hundreds of thousands of people who don't speak English are naturally national language, hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants, hate marches on the streets of our capital city every week, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah.
But no more.
Race the Sea, the awakening of the British. The citizens of Great Britain are rising up. No more tyranny of Labour and Star. They see their true colours, the Union Jack, St. George, the Scottish flag and the Red Dragon of Wales. Street by street, the kingdom is awakening and an entire nation is rising again.
We call upon English people to join us in this peaceful stand. Raise the colours, fly the St George Cross across England, and the Essex County flag in our proud country. Let us unite in these actions. Refuse the licence fee, withhold council tax, and display our flags with pride. This is our message, and we ask you to share it with the nation. Protect our children!
Our kids! Save 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 our kids!
Yeah, that's what she said.
Send them home! 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 Send them home!
Isn't it? But I was talking to the police officer here before, and he was saying, well, look, I'll take it from your guys' perspective, right? You're just being told what, you know, from the higher ups what to do. I get that. I understand. But I'm going to sympathise with you as people, as human beings now, right? As people who are, I don't know where you're from, but I'm going to assume you're from a local area because you're local police, right? There's going to be a point in time within the next 4 years where you're going to have to draw a line in the sand. And the line in the sand is this: you protect the British citizens, the British native people of this land, or you protect the Islamist communists. So it's which side do you prefer to side on? And if you have to go against your higher ups, who are obviously Islamists, who are obviously communists, who are obviously telling you what to do, as human beings, we are going to be the ones who suffer. Every day I hear on the news, every single day I hear on the news, a child being raped, a child being molested. This is going to happen to Barrow. This is going to happen in this town. There are going to be more rapes, there are going to be more murders, there are going to be all of these things. And this tiny little bit of graffiti is freedom of speech, and it's part of a protest. Like I say, like I say, graffitiing on a church, probably not the best idea. Probably what I would have done, if you wanted to say something, there is a Labour office down there, maybe have a protest out there because they're the ones in power. But as I would say, as a concerned citizen, my heart goes out to you because I know that you've got a tough job. And maybe the things that I'm saying might resonate with you. But this government, the people that are in power, yeah, they are not for you either. They are not for you. And I understand we're just following orders. But that's what the Nazis did. That's what the Nazis did. That's what the Nazis said. They said, we're just following orders. And 6 million Jews died. In the next few years, there'll be more British citizens that are going to get arrested. There are more British citizens that will be under an authoritarian dictatorship because these guys are just following orders. And it's time that we need to speak out. Now, I will say there's a caveat to this. Peacefully, this is what I'm saying, you must peacefully say your voice. Don't give these guys grief because they're just following orders. They're just doing their job. They're just an arm of the communists and the Islamists.
I think Islam hates us. There's something there that there's a tremendous hatred there. There's a tremendous hatred. We have to get to the bottom of it. There is an unbelievable hatred of us.
In Islam itself?
You're going to have to figure that out, okay? You'll get another Pulitzer, right? But you're going to have to figure that out. But there is a tremendous hatred, and we have to be very vigilant. We have to be very careful, and we can't allow people coming into this country who have this hatred of the United States.
I guess the question is...
And of people that are not Muslim.
Denmark. The court in Aarhus has sentenced a 40-year-old taxi driver to 1.5 years in prison under the rape paragraph of the Penal Code for assault against a 13-year-old girl. The man also stated during interrogation that he and the girl were supposed to have become Islamically married. It was allegedly a Somali imam who had overseen the ritual via a phone connection. On Thursday, the 49-year-old officer from Funan Police, Elver Abbas, was sentenced to 30 days of unconditional imprisonment. The charges against Elver Abbas were that he had abused his position in Funan Police in 29 cases. The 21 offenses he admits to involve sharing confidential information, cases going on over the past few years. They show that there are interpreters, police officers, caseworkers, and health professionals who misuse their position to promote Islamism and uphold Islamic honor concepts. It is as sad as it is dangerous. Denmark. On Saturday, March 29th, a pair of brothers aged 8 and 10 were at a supermarket in Riskhof to return some bottles. They were approached by a 45-year-old man who threatened them with violence if they did not hand over the bottle refund. The 45-year-old was arrested and charged with robbery, and when he was searched, officers found the stolen bottle refund of 50.50 Danish kroner. On Wednesday, he appeared in the court in Aarhus, where the verdict was 9 months in prison and subsequent deportation. Imam Abu Malik al-Hanafi, who has studied Islamic studies at the University of Copenhagen and has followed similar studies in Pakistan, wrote on Facebook on Tuesday a fatwa it is haram, forbidden edition, for Muslims to stand for or vote for parties that support militant Zionism and the genocide in Palestine.
Yeah, such a pleasure to see you.
Smoking kills, so does Islam.
It does indeed. I'm going to start with a number of quick-fire questions. What's the most dangerous idea that society has accepted as normal, according to you?
Islam.
If you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be?
Donald Trump.
If you could sit down with one of your enemies, what enemy would it be?
I don't have any enemies, do I?
If it was one of your critics, which of your critics would you like to sit down with and tell them your version of the story?
Tell them my version. I don't know. Do you know what? I never make any relevance of our critics. I think they're irrelevant. So all the opposition to us, they're totally irrelevant in what we need to do. I always try to say to our supporters, ignore the left, ignore the communists, ignore them. We just need to make sure we're doing what we're doing. So I probably wouldn't want to sit down with any of them.
If a migrant
does come through the border, what do you do with the migrant? Do you send them back into Serbia?
Alapvetően az eljárásunk az, hogy feltartóztatjuk a migránsokat, ezt követően pedig visszakísérjük a kijelölt kapun.